All right. So I'm going to try and sound as little self-serving as I possibly can here, but I will say what is good mastering is expensive. I think is the wrong statement to make. I think bad mastering is expensive and good mastering is cheap.
Okay.
Okay, there's a few reasons. The engineers who really care have an invested interest in your product.
Mm.
So that time, that money you spend on them is that time they spend, consulting with you, prepping up session material. It's payment for their experience. It's payment for for what they do in day out and their investments into their craft, and that is actually invaluable. So the fact that it's $80 or $100 or $150 at another studio is relatively cheap. Um, Bad mastering is mastering that is expensive because you send it somewhere and you don't connect with the engineer. So when you're looking for mastering, the price I believe you shouldn't look at, regardless of whether you're looking at me, another engineer, or Sterling mastering in the top of the range.
Mm.
You have to look at the engineer and how they connect with your music and with you, because that's the investment you're making it in, not necessarily the mastering service itself. Because I can go and 99.9% of the mastering engineers I know will do an amazing job. But how you connect with them and they connect with you is what you're paying for, and that's what's the most important thing about a mastering service. So the first thing is the engineers has an invested interest in you, but then you have to listen to you're developing a product. Now, whether that product's free, whether you're selling it as an album, whether you're streaming, whether it's pay what you want on Bandcamp, at the end of the day, there's an audience and a fan base that invest their time into it and their money. So you have to respect your audience to know, I want to create a product and I want to get my product across to my audience. Whether it's a free stream on SoundCloud or they pay, $2.50 a single, they're still investing their time and their money. And both should be valued equally. I don't believe that a paid product should be valued more than what a free stream product is. Because at the end of the day, your audience actively goes to your site, clicks play, listens, and for you, that's an investment of their time in your product. And yes, you're providing them with a service of music and an experience that you're trying to get out there, but equally, they're investing their time and, their efforts into your music. And then if they like it, they share it. And for me, that's something that's insanely valuable. I don't think every project to me is exactly the same, is of all equal value, regardless of whether it's going to chart on the ARIAs or whether it's just a free stream. There's still people out there investing their time, and you have to value that. And I think you also said, what was the last part of that question? I missed that.
The process that you go through. For example, if I'm looking for mastering and I come across you,
Yep.
And I email you, what happens from then? Like what happens from that point forward until the end result where I get my master back?
So my first thing is communication, as you know. So if they send me a track, I'll listen to it. Now, my thing is there's two kinds of feedback you give. There's objective and there's subjective. Now, for me, I don't like to affect any mix decisions or any creative decisions an artist makes, because that is something they can make. They have the vision to make. I don't have their vision. They've put together a piece of music or a mix, and you have to respect that. So those are subjective feedback, which I'll rarely ever give unless I'm very, very close with someone and I know, I've worked with them hundreds of times and I know exactly what they're after. Objective feedback is things like sibilance, dropouts, clips, bad edits, it's being slammed on the master, there's distortion, there's something going wrong technically, which is black and white and is like day and light, and I can go to them. That's the sort of feedback I can give to you. So basically they'll send me through, I'll give them objective feedback and then go, where are you trying to take this? Because most of the time I'm looking at getting this track mastered. What's the best way to accommodate this process? And then, so I always try and get out of them where they're trying to take it. And usually they give me references, they discuss what they've done. And what I try and engage in is what they like about their mix. Because a lot of them are easily to go, I don't like my mix, or I really don't like this, or I don't like that. But that doesn't, that sort of becomes a fixing game in mastering, and that's a compromise approach, which I don't really agree with. I'd try and hone in on what they're enjoying about their music and how we can embellish that and work as a team towards generating a feel for the listener through those assets in the mix. So, you know, it's a bit of investigative work, just sort of prying a bit of information out of them, discussing, and then once we sort of settled on what we have and where we're going to take it, I'll assess myself, you know, how feasible is it to get there? Because sometimes, as we know, not everyone's the best mixing engineer. Sometimes productions aren't on point and everybody's at different levels of their production stage. So you have to be very respectful of that and be honest. So 9 times out of 10, we were able to accommodate and take the music from point A to point B. For the 1 out of 10 times where someone doesn't have it quite right for where they're trying to go, I'll be upright and honest with them, and I'll go, look, this is where you are and this is where you're trying to go. I can take it this far, but these are some ways and routes we can look at exploring to get us to that final product you're after.